qualities of who we are. And beyond this, by the way, that's just in this universe. There's beyond the universe too. Yogis, the great yogis and saints talk about the different planes beyond. And the really good ones, the true ones, they all describe those places. The really good ones in India, I love it. They say, oh, those places, we call those the indescribable place. There are no words here to describe what that place is like. Can't even come close. And yet still, we have some great treasures in the universe. So to me, the key, and I never go around, this is not some religion. My view is everyone has their own opening. That process is unique to everyone and their source. Yet to me, if we're going to be in this house, in this place in the universe, we got to understand, what are we dealing with here? And not so much so we can have an idea about it, oh, we're going to go to the galaxy, universe. No, just because practically, you could know nothing about that. I don't usually share that in our 1-day, 2-day seminars at all, because it's really irrelevant. It doesn't really matter unless you have a little more interest in understanding. What matters is when you get knocked with something, an emotion, a thought, or some situation, can you collapse it, dissolve it, and get it back into that neutral state? And that's only something that can happen through your own experience. And you practice it, which is the goal of these retreats. You do it a bit, you get to the point where you trust it. My life, I trust it. I don't say this is a truth. I don't tell you to believe me in this. I say, for me in my life, this is how I experience it. It works really good. Yeah, you try. You make sure it's real before you believe it. And even then, you don't need to believe it. I have no use for belief, really. Belief implies that we're not in the experience. When we're in the experience, everyone will believe you because that experience radiates out from you. All right, good session, everyone. That was powerful. That was good. Anybody want to share real quick about the laser process that we did, and particularly about post the laser process and their sense of energy, their feeling of the quantum field, and their experience of working the laser as a tool, a little bit different than a pain relief or an injury tool. Anyone want experience of how they experienced that? Yes.
Let's see. I felt like I had wrinkles left when I was doing it. Oh, I was okay. But then when I started using the laser, I felt like I was ironing myself. And then when I got down to the feet, wow, then I felt, oh no, I'm really ironed out. I'm okay now. I just felt totally ironed out. Good. I didn't have any, I had little spaces in between.
Yes.
But I didn't after that. And then when I quit it, then I just felt, oh, this is nice. When I shut the laser, I could have just sat here and that's it. You did. So you really got a good experience.
Definitely. Yeah. Good. That is so important to me because it's such a big way. I don't talk about it a lot in our 1-day seminars, yet to me, when I use the laser, I use it as a tool to kind of open up that transformational space. And then I rest in that space. It's like the remote control. You use the remote control to find the show you like. You don't keep using it after that. Well, some people do.
Oh, yeah.
You put it down because you've gotten to the station. You've gotten to the show. Use that in your life.
No, I was just going to say it was like floating in the sea, but I lost total boundaries, especially after we turned it off. And I was holding the laser in my hand, it kept falling, and I wasn't sleeping, but it was just like there was just no boundaries.
Yeah.
It was just that floating.
Yeah. I often, when I'm in that zone, and I'll be like here, and if I'm in a chair, I'm like, I don't want to keep holding the laser because I'm drifting off. So I have a practice of kind of very gently, which Lily doesn't like that practice, but I very gently toss it gently to the ground with a very soft, land gently, please. Because I'm in this zone and I'm like, oh, I can't keep holding it, so I just kind of... Thank goodness we drop test the heck out of them, so it works fine. Yes, Nancy.
What I appreciated was I had a realization about clearing the field, was that I literally have had body parts of mine change after somebody I love died to what they have had. And some of us who are intuitive or empathic, well, a lot of us, we don't even have to work in that. You're just empathic and suddenly you find you have something like somebody else had that you were around, whether you met them for the first time or knew them for a long time. So I was consciously using the laser to go through and clear my field of those chords.
Mm.
And I can feel my body shifting, clear the chords.
Yeah.
I'm not that experienced that was before. So
Yes.
we're dealing with a scalar field that has no past and future in
That's
it.
right.
So clear it.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's great. That's really important work. That's a really good point, and I want to highlight that because, from my perspective, anything that comes up could be a sense of a past life, could be this, could be that. For me, whatever comes up, dissolve. I dissolve everything. No matter what comes up in my experience, and I tell people, I get a lot of people that come with past lives, with different situations. I say, irrespective, dissolve it. If it's real, it'll still be here. Trust that whatever, it's like, to me, Stillpoint in the quantum field truifies things. It gets rid of the stories. It gets rid of the this, the that. In my life, I genuinely feel in my experience in this new season, in the old season, things were coming from the past. The past, the present, the future. In my experience, the way I'm experienced being on this planet right now, I feel my being manifesting from the future. Not really the future, from the other way. In other words, if you can come from the past, you've got to be able to come from the other way. Has to be. We have to be able to come from the future, or from who we truly are. Yet if the inertia of the polarity of the past coming forward is continuing, if thinking is continuing, it's saying no. Because that's an inertia of the past. When the universe, when our precession shifts, which is what happened in 2012, 26,000 year cycle, the precession shifts, well, guess what? Everything flips. So that trajectory of those programs coming from the past, done here, which is all Stillpoint is. It's just saying, no. From the past, no. To give space. When we're in this space, we open up the possibility to express who we truly are.
What I was going to say is that when we turned on the laser,
Yes.
I noticed it tuning my space, but I had never called it that before until you said that today.
Yes.
But I definitely noticed that feeling, that reality.
Yes.
And it was just like a big,
Yes.
this is nice.
Yes.
Now, it's hard not to get dependent on that.
Yes, it is. It is. And I have certain situations where I say, I need a laser. Give me a laser real quick. And just let's quickly tune things up. Every so often, do a session in a dark room. It really makes poignant. It really really just crystallizes how it's a tuning device for the quantum field. Powerful. Thank you, Dave.
A lot of times, you're like in the past, you think, well, the more stuff you're hanging on to, the better you are,
Yes.
or the more productive you are.
Yes.
It's a total opposite.
Totally.
And when we're rooted, it's almost like that tree.
Yes.
That energy is coming up from the roots,
Yes.
going up, and there's a blossoming.
Yes.
There's leaves.
Yes.
And we all know that trees on planet Earth purify
Yes.
the air.
Yeah.
And I know that just makes me feel like I'm just far more productive, and you don't hang on to that stuff, and you can just share that with others, and they can they can gain out of that neutrality
Yes.
instead of hanging on.
Yes.
Hanging on does nothing.
That's right.
It's more destructive instead of a creative
That's right.
essence. Yeah, it's awesome.
It's such a good point, because people often ask me. I had a consultant once who came and helped us with our company a little bit, and he watched all the videos. He's a great guy, and he said, "Wow, I totally get this Stillpoint thing. It's great. I love it." And then he came to watch he was with us for a couple days, and he watched what my life was like, and he asked me after like the second day, he's kind of scratching his head. He said, "I got to ask you this. I got to ask you because I see you, and you're on conference calls with engineers, then you're on with the quality team, then you're talking to the marketing people, then you're talking here, and you're in this meeting, and things are coming at you, and it's like," and he said, "I envisioned you'd just be sitting around like this, and everything would be just happening." And so he kind of said, "Well, how does that work? Help me understand that." And from my perspective, the ability, the strength is the ability in any moment. I could have a day that's like nonstop. Yet there's a moment in that day, often there's more than one, where no one's looking, and my eyes could be open, I could be in the meeting, good idea. Yet I'm completely dissolving in my perception. We have to learn to be a little bit like the actor, a little bit. We can't always just say, "Wait a moment, I got to go sit in here," and then we sit here and everyone looks at you and thinks you're, trying to be some great being or whatever, you know, we got to learn to kind of be able to play the part. For me, that might be being quasi-involved in a situation, yet really I'm dissolving into the quantum field or activating the energy. Or there could be a moment where at a certain part of the day I'm in a situation and just whoosh, I just get pulled and I dissolve and everything, all those structures just dissolve. And I could be like having the hardest day, and then for a moment I get back there, and in the blink of an eye, I'm in that zone of that profound, indescribable essence. And the rest of the day is gone. Relatively, that was my day. Not all that other stuff that went on. And so you're so right. If you have that flexibility to be able at any moment to dissolve, to be able, things move through you. When you're doing things, you get so much more done because you're not processing linear. You're holding the space of neutrality, and at some moments there's a lot of stuff going on, yet you're also got this neutral flexibility that's kind of enabling that to really flow and move. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the more you practice cultivating neutrality, don't expect for, some, ashram to show up and you're just going to be sitting. Expect that life's going to come at you a lot. Because those things are kind of like warp speed. You hit warp speed and it's like all the stars, all of a sudden they're like coming at you, but then you get through it and it's like whoosh. In my life, I don't even notice all that stuff a lot that's coming at me. As long as I'm kind of riding in between things and kind of holding this space.